Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be looking at Gold Mythic Eva and Ghost, who are going to be coming to the game as advanced token wheel characters. I guess you could say tours. There's going to be 2 in 1 effectively in this character. We have had a Ghost in the past, we have had an Eva, multiple Evas in the past, but now we're going to get an Eva and Ghost. This is like baby Ghost with Eva here, kind of cool. She's part of the Lone Wolves Allegiance. And visually on the right hand side you can see it looks really cool. I like it. I'm not so sure about the sound that the attack makes. Sounds like a walker to me. We have had some strange sounds in recent characters, like Lydia has a bow sound on her knife throw. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it is what it is. On the left hand side we can see the art in a bit better detail. Looks really nice, and you can kind of see like Ghost looking very excited about whatever he's running towards. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe he's running towards a friend. Oh my god, it's a friend, not oh my god, it's an enemy, and I don't know. He seems way too excited and happy about whatever he's doing. If we look at the stats, at level 1440, limit break 3, we have got 35,110 attack, 25,455 defense, and 27,210 HP. It's going to be a strong character, going to be able to control role, Gold Mythic of course, and like I said, is going to be joining the Lone Wolves Allegiance as another attack team character by the looks of things. Now those stats are quite balanced for an attack team character, so I do expect more of a support style kit, and as a control role character probably is going to be the case. If we look at the adrenaline rush, we can say it's called Gnarly Bite. It's a 55 AP cost rush. Make a critical attack against an enemy for 500% damage. Then after that, one other enemy gets 15% of this fighter's attack stat as bleed damage for 3 turns and 100% heal reduction for the rest of combat. This is, like I say, not going to be like nukey as a rush, but it shouldn't be too bad. 500% guaranteed crit is going to be nice, and obviously the higher the attack stat, the higher the damage. If you've got crit multiplier in the mods, so on and so forth, you're going to be doing more damage there. The bleed damage is pretty nice as well. You could get well over 100,000 attack on this character, so you know 15,000 plus bleed is most likely going to be the case. If there is an attack buff on Eva and Ghost when this happens, then it is obviously just going to be even more boosted damage. It's just as simple as that, and it lasts for 3 turns, so pretty significant. But the 100% heal reduction is nice as well. That should mean that it's on the character forever, even when you take them out. That's going to be quite interesting to see, because if it is on the character forever, even when you take them out, that means they can never get revived. It is actually going to be a revive block. I think this counters revive block on characters that have decap resist, but we'll test that out. Okay, so as you can see, we have got the adrenaline rush on Eva and Ghost. While attacking, I'm going to attack Alpha here, and I'm going to hope the bleed lands on Circuit in the bottom right hand corner to do the full test. We are going to hit the 100% heal reduction and the bleed on Circuit. Now what we've got to do is we've got to take out Circuit, which shouldn't be too hard. I hope shouldn't be too hard. The revive's going to come in obviously because he revives every turn, but when we take out Circuit, she normally can't be decapped, but this could potentially be a way past it. Can she be revived right now? No. So it will permanently block characters that do have decap resistance in their specialist skills. This is going to be extremely handy against the more like recent influx of characters that have that. You know, characters like Omid here, characters like Circuit, characters like Morgan. If you have all of those in a team, it can be very hard to like take them out effectively all at the same time, which is kind of what you have to do. Now there is going to be a revive block, as much as she's not decapped, but this can get cleansed. So if a character comes along that cleanses characters, it still can cleanse this on a character on the floor, just to be aware. Now I did actually mention Morgan just now, but Morgan's new specialist skill, Halo 2, actually cleanses heal reduction when he goes into Halo, so he won't be able to have that blocked. Just so you're aware, he will cleanse it as he goes into his specialist skill. However, if he's normalized when he goes into his specialist skill, he doesn't proc his specialist skill, and that way the 100% heal reduction would still remain. So there is a little bit of a way through that, just so you're aware if you didn't manage to get a decap in. Now, if we look at the upgrades here on Eva and Ghost, you can see at grade 2, it gets plus 5% bleed damage. So it goes from 10% bleed damage up to 15% bleed damage to another enemy, not the target that you're actually attacking. At grade 4, it gets an upgrade where the other enemy also gets 100% heal reduction for the rest of combat. And at limit break 1, it gets plus 250% damage, so it goes from 250% damage crit up to a 500% damage crit. Then at LB3, the AP cost gets reduced from 66 down to 55. This is going to be nice. It really depends on the signature move cooldown. If it's a really good cooldown, let's say no turns or 1 turn, then you should be able to get a decent rotation in here where you won't need AP on attack on the weapon, and you could utilize other things. For instance, you could utilize a little bit of HP, or you could utilize maybe crit chance, because other parts of her kit or her basic attacks obviously don't have a guaranteed crit chance, unless there's obviously something on her weapon that gives that, or in her kit. We'll have to check that out. But her 55 AP just means she's just more likely to rush. It's pretty much simply as that. I think this Adrenaline Rush is quite nice in combination with other parts of her kit, which we will check out later on in the video. It obviously enhances this, mainly her specialist skill, because it's going to actually proc her specialist skill. But the 100% heal reduction is nice against particular characters. Like I say, ones that can't get decapped. While they can't get decapped, this just blocks their revive potential. Only on certain characters though. Characters like Circuit and characters like Omid, for instance, their specialist skill. Like I said, Halo 2 is the only one that kind of like gets out of this one. But if you're taking out other characters first, then it's not a problem. Just be aware of that cleanse situation, like I said. But yeah, not too bad a rush. It's more of a support one, like I said. And the bleed damage will just scale off her attack stat at the time of rushing. So if you've got a massive attack buff at the time, then the bleed damage is going to be huge too, obviously. So yeah, not too bad. And that heal reduction, I think, is going to come in very handy indeed. Now, next up, we're going to check out Eva and Ghost's signature move. And it is called Hidden Wolves. It has got an initial cooldown of turn 1. It has got a cooldown of 2 turns, which is a bit slow considering the 55 AP, which we talked about before. Number of uses unlimited. 3 random Lone Wolves Allegiance teammates get elusive for 2 turns. Make 2 attacks against a line of enemies for 300% damage, 600% total each. So this is interesting. This is not going to take into effect anything on her control roll or anything like that. She's going to give elusive to 3 random teammates. I'm not sure if she would be involved in that if there are more than 3 in the team. So for instance, if you've got the more offensive Lone Wolves that exist right now, which is the Wanderer and effectively Philip Blake and Michonne, and you put Eva and Ghost in the same team, all 3 of those characters will probably get the elusive, and we'll test that out in the test that we do in a second. The 2 attacks against a line of enemies for 300% damage is pretty decent. A lot of characters had like multi-attacks like this, and you could potentially put in her hands like a stun on attack weapon because she is strong, and you'd have multiple chances of stunning characters if you so wished. Other sort of control-based weaponry, or something like Ransack, where you could potentially be ransacking certain effects away because she is a strong character. Again, she can hold a Ransack weapon. So, yep, definitely some nice potential when it comes to the weaponry and the signature move combination here. And just a side note, I think the picture of the wolf and Eva kind of howling at the moon at the top looks really cool. Let's check out how this works though. Okay, so here we go, and we have got all of the Lone Wolves that are possible to get right now for attack team. You could put Morgan in this team as well, of course, but this is the main kind of get up for a Lone Wolves on attack at the moment. And we're going to attack the top line. It should attack both characters twice, and then we'll see who gets the elusive on my team. So we're going to see one attack come in, and it looks like it's doing double attacks. That could be interesting. We'll have to read where that's coming from. Now, she did get elusive, as you can see, so she can potentially get the elusive, and the elusive comes in first. As you can see, the AP on Nor is nowhere to be seen. So she'll gain the elusive potentially, and then do the attacks and give no AP to the enemy. If you want to guarantee this, you should use only 3 Lone Wolves in an attack team, and she'll always get that elusive buff by the looks of things. Now, if we go straight into the upgrades on the signature move, we can see at grade 3, it gets an upgrade where 3 random Lone Wolves Allegiance teammates get elusive for 2 turns, At grade 5, it gets -1 to starting cooldown. So it goes from a turn 2 starting cooldown down to a turn 1 starting cooldown. Then at limit break 2, it gets +1 attack each. So initially it does make 1 attack against a line of enemies each. And then it obviously gets improved up to 2 attacks each. Now this was happening, you saw it happening, but also there was a second attack coming in on each of those attacks as well. We'll have to see where that was coming in the kit, but that is obviously going to amplify the damage output of Eva and Ghost here. And yeah, like I say, the more attacks, the better, especially if you want to utilize certain weaponry, particularly Ransack, which is obviously very important. And in the Lone Wolves team, would say Eva and Ghost and potentially the Wanderer seem like the most Ransack built kind of characters in the teams. But obviously it's up to you how you want to build that team out if you want to use them all together. But it seems pretty decent. Even if the elusive doesn't land on Eva and Ghost, it will always land on the other teammates, and some of those can do significant damage too. So any AP gain that you can block is always good, especially with a bit more of a rise of commands in defense teams recently. I've seen it a little bit more recently than before. Obviously, turn 1 commands is definitely a possibility, and some of these adrenaline rushes are brutal. So you'll be very, very careful with how you do things, and this is just a bit more of AP control, which is, like I say, thumbs up. The damage potential is nice. The combination with the weapons, like I said before, I think would be pretty good too. We'll have to see what her base weapon is, but if it isn't control based, it could be worth putting a more control style weapon in her hands. Like stun on attack plus Ransack could be really good. It's not like the Lone Wolves teams kind of like doesn't have damage, so you may not need to be mega damage dealer and even Ghost, but it could be fun regardless. But yeah, I like the signature move. We'll have to see, like I say, how it kind of combos with the rest of her kit. So Eva and Ghost are of course going to be combining and coming to the game as an advanced token wheel character. So we're going to be giving away some advanced tokens. One lucky winner will win themselves 10,000 advanced tokens, and all you have to do is use the word howl as part of a sentence in your comment down below. Make sure you don't do this in the live chat, as the live chat comments do not contribute to an entry. You have to do it in the comments below the video. As long as you use the word howl in part of a sentence, you should not get spammed out by YouTube, giving yourself the best chance to win the giveaway. I should do the draw in around 10 days time on a future live stream. Best of luck if you enter. Now back to the video. So here are the mythic abilities of Eva and Ghost. These are the passive skills. Now, they are of course a control character, so they will have precision, where enemy resistances are 40% lower against this fighter. Now, so far there hasn't been too much control in the kit. There is control on the specialist skill, but in the rest of the kit there hasn't been too much. So you might want to stack some control on that weapon, like I said before. The next one is called Premeditate. At the start of each wave, 100% chance this fighter gets focus and camouflage for the rest of combat. Now, I don't see this as being that big a deal, particularly the camouflage side of things, especially if she is used in a Lone Wolves team, or if she's used with a Maggie lead. Obviously, camouflage just stops you from gaining damage on AoE damage. I guess it's nice if she's obviously not targeted, and there are characters that have like multi-hits. So for instance, someone like Kyle can hit 2 characters. If she's not targeted and gets hit by the second hit, she'll block it effectively. The focus is nice though. It means she can bypass human shields, and human shields are much more powerful now than they were before, because they can go off of turn 1 straight away. So she's going to be able to bypass straight away as well, and she could get that nasty character behind enemy lines. Her signature move can hit very hard, and she could potentially do pretty significant damage. By the looks of things, she can maybe hit up to 4 times on any single character on that signature move, because of the way it works with the double attacks, which we're probably going to be seeing in the next passive, maybe, called Deadly Companion. When attacking, make a second attack against the same target with 150% attack. This is what we were seeing before. Effectively, Eva's doing an attack, and then Ghost is doing an attack. I really like that idea. That's really, really cool, and we haven't seen that before. It is effectively a double attack, but it is guaranteed when you're attacking. So as long as you are doing the signature move, the rush, or a basic attack, so all the time. I don't like double attack, generally speaking, because it's a 60% chance to have it happen on weapons, basically at its best. except Lily, who can get slightly higher because of the way her kit works. But this is really nice. If it's 100% chance, this is a big thumbs up. You can guarantee it. The damage output should be pretty significant as well. Like I said, now you're maybe thinking, hey, I might want to build this character as more of a damage dealer, especially off of that turn 1, like I said, being able to attack behind shields. The last passive is called Exploited Weakness. When attacking, increase damage by 10% for every negative status effect on the enemy team. This is pretty interesting. So you could potentially cheese a little bit and have weapons that do, for instance, heal reduction to the enemy team. That would be 5 negative status effects on the entire enemy team, and you'd be obviously doing an extra 50% attack on any attacks. That's signature move off of turn 1, adrenaline rush off of turn 2 potentially, or turn 3. But generally speaking, any part of her kit is going to get this boost. The more negative status effects, the better. This also includes the crosshairs, which will be applied from Philip Blake's lead skill. So you can get potentially, 50, 80, 100% attack boost on Eva and Ghost here. Yeah, definitely some massive damage potential when it comes to Eva and Ghost. Okay, so here we are off of turn 1. And as you can see, we are coming up against the human shield. And there's a very problematic character behind that human shield. And that is Carver, someone who can just wipe out your entire team if you put him behind a human shield. And I can now select him, and I can take him out with Eva and Ghost. He has got crosshairs on him, and there is things like defense down on the enemy team. We also have a bit of daze, and I think there was what else was there? Was there bleed? There's hemorrhage. These are all negative status effects. This is all going to be boosted attack stat for Eva and Ghost. Now remember, the double attacks do come in, so I'll do a double attack with each of the individual attacks that I do on the signature move, of which there'll be 2 to each enemy. So effectively I should hit 8 times, and I'll do the signature move, and the first attack comes in. I wonder what's gonna happen next. Does it just do more attacks against this character? It does, and they both had crosshairs, and now they're both decapped. So this is very nice to get behind human shields and get those problematic characters out of the way. If you do take out someone who's a little bit weaker, obviously Carver's not more defense built, he's more of a cheese character, you're going to get extra attacks against the more defensive built character in that same line. So like I say, thumbs up there. Now in this case we didn't need it because we had crosshairs on the enemy. However, those characters did have halo, so if we didn't hit the crosshairs, that's where a ransack weapon could be really useful, especially on that second character I was attacking. You saw I hit him 3 times. The likeliness that I'm not going to be able to ransack away the halo, even though there was quite a lot of positive effects there, is very, very low chance. Very low chance indeed. Now if we look at the upgrades, we can see at grade 1, the first half of Premeditate comes in, where it's a 50% chance this fighter gets focus and camouflage for the rest of combat. At grade 2, the first half of Precision comes in, where it's a 20% lower resistances against this fighter. At grade 3, we're going to get the second half of Premeditate, and it's going to be a 100% chance this fighter gets focus and camouflage for the rest of combat. Moving on to grade 4, you can see Deadly Companion Part 1 comes in. When attacking, make a second attack against the same target with 50% attack. So even at low grades, it's guaranteed to actually have a second attack come in, but it will just be lower damage. And at grade 5, Exploited Weakness Part 1 comes in. When attacking, increase damage by 5% for every negative status effect on the enemy team. Same sort of deal, it's guaranteed to happen. It just won't be the most powerful it can be until we move on to the limit breaks, where at LB1, Precision 2 comes in. Enemy resistances are 20% lower against this fighter, stacking with Precision 1, making it 40% lower. And then at Limit Break 2, Deadly Companion 2 is going to come in, making it 150% total on that second attack. So Little Baby Ghost is going to be doing some pretty nice damage there. Then at Limit Break 3, Exploited Weakness 2 comes in, making it 10% increased damage for every negative status effect on the enemy team. And like I said, you can kind of cheese this quite nicely with the heal reduction weapon, where it does heal reduction to the entire team. That'll guarantee 50% damage. And then obviously there's the crosshairs that we saw before, the defense down. And then potentially if you attack with another character first, for instance, you could command rush the Wanderer, and he could effectively hit a disarm on lots of characters, his hemorrhage on lots of characters, his daze on lots of characters. You could potentially be doing like 200, 300% damage boost on this if you've got enough negative status effects on the enemy team. So Eva and Ghost suddenly becomes some nuclear level character. I did say at the beginning, I don't think she's going to be a nuclear. Well, it could potentially be that way just because of this one passive. So yeah, very, very interesting now. I like the passives a lot. Quite surprising based on her kit, obviously being a more of a control character. But the damage output looks absolutely insane. The damage output looks absolutely insane. Not much control going on. I will say that, not much control going on. There is going to be on the specialist skill, which we'll look at next, but otherwise, it's pretty light on the control. It's mainly going to be doing pretty heavy damage and, you know, bypassing those human shields early on. But so far, I do really like the kit, if I'm honest. Now, before we check out the specialist skill, I will say that because she is a precision character, she will obviously reduce the chances of tanks and, you know, those characters that can do crit resist actually occurring, which means she's more likely to hit crits, which is going to be nice for this specialist skill as well. And it is Normalizer. When this fighter performs a critical hit, they apply Normalize for 1 turn to that target. Now, we'll test this out because I can't really recall how it works, but I'm pretty sure this Normalize comes in before the damage does, which is honestly kind of OP. It's kind of OP. So if you attack a character that doesn't have any sort of normalized resist in any way, and you hit a crit and they're, let's say, a payback, you're guaranteed to normalize them and do decent level damage, obviously with the signature move and how it all works, potentially really high damage, but no kind of payback potential. If you don't hit it, then you could have her on a team with, let's say, Philip Blake lead or Maggie lead, and you're not going to have any sort of issues with that coming back. But this is going to be good against Outlast characters as well. This is going to be good against the new Morgan with the Halo 2. This is going to be good against anyone pretty much who has a specialist skill that is problematic. This is kind of what I was talking about on a live stream a couple of weeks ago, where I kind of hoped the Lone Wolves would get some sort of normalize in the kit. I don't think it is as powerful as it could be. Obviously, just, let's say, signature move normalize is generally speaking quite high, but because she's a precision character, she's got a much better chance to hit crits than your average character would have against the likes of tanks and so on and so forth. Okay, so now we're attacking this particular team here, and as you can see on that bottom line, we have 2 payback characters. One has no resist. The other one does have, I think, 60 or 70% resist. That will be lowered by 40%. But if we don't hit it, we have got the 100% reduction to reflected damage. This is just primarily going to be good against other characters. For instance, like Vance as an Outlast character, being able to go into Outlast and get the rush off, so on and so forth. Even if he's going to get decapped in this case, it can just be problematic. But I'm going to just show you against the bottom line. You're going to see it comes in, and both of these characters did get normalized, and we had no normalized come back. And then it went on to another character because obviously we did one shot the first, and they also got normalized. As long as we hit the crit, the normalized will come in first, then the damage, and then we can finish up with the other characters if we so wish, if we want to just speed through it. So nice specialist skill, and it does work quite nicely with Eva and Ghost kit here. It's going to come in before any of the damage that she does on the rush, signature move, or basic attacks. And like I said, if you do team her up with Philip Blake, there could be crosshairs on the team already, and that could enable characters that generally speaking wouldn't be decapped to be decapped if they're taken out that turn, which is, like I say, very nice indeed. And she's going to get an added bonus when it comes to being able to hit this specialist skill on her weapon. And if we move across to that weapon, it's called Ghost Savage Fangs. It's actually Ghost who attacks with the weapon. Maybe that's why it does sound like a walker, but I mean, it sounds very strange. I guess they couldn't use like the tiger roar for a little tiny doggo. It would have been really cute if they just added like a little bark or something. I don't know. But anyway, 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, attack up versus debilitating. When attacking an enemy with a debilitating effect, gain 50% attack. And the last slot is an off-trait special, improved critical expert, turns fighter's base crit chance to 100%. This fighter gets 20% crit damage. This is obviously really nice for the normalizer. It's nice to just do more damage as well. And obviously she's got control roll, so she's got much better chance to hit this against someone who has 50% crit chance reduction, she's going to reduce that by 40%. So they're only going to have 10% chance to block her crit hits. So like I say, the damage output should actually be pretty decent. The proc of the normalizer should be good too. And effectively, I think the attack up versus debilitating should come in as a guarantee, because the normalize comes in before the damage, which is like I say, it is kind of strange, but it comes in before the damage, and that means that she should get the 50% attack boost because the character would be normalized. Then you've got the extra attack boost because of the passives, you know, coming up against characters that have any negative status effects on the entire team. Her damage output is actually going to be crazy high, considering she's not an attack roll character and she hasn't got some nuts level percentages on her base signature move and rush. You do have to have negative status effects on the enemy team, but in combination with this weapon, like I say, it should be absolutely nuts, if I'm honest. So that's it for my first look at Eva and Ghost. And like I say, they do look very nice indeed, and they are going to effectively be something that was missing from that Lone Wolves attack team, although she is going to be adding much more damage than I initially thought she would. It's going to be nice indeed. Being able to bypass shields off of turn 1 is going to be a very big thumbs up. Being a strong character as well, I kind of like. You could potentially use her in teams, you know, where she's not with Lone Wolves, and you're using her against like Davy teams and so on and so forth, because she can bypass stars early on in the fight. You're going to be able to, you know, potentially get onto characters that are more problematic in the back line and take them out early on. So like I say, very nice indeed. Less chance to hit those resists on tanks as well. Should be able to proc normalize her a bit often. And I personally think the amount of decat resist characters right now is quite high. And with the 100% heal reduction on the rush, being able to potentially block that as well, I think it's actually pretty nice all-round kit and should be pretty hefty damage output as well. And also baby Ghost, so really cute as well. Do tell me your thoughts though on Eva and Ghost as one of the last Lone Wolves attack team characters. We have got at least one more to come, so keep an eye out for that. That is it in my video though, guys. Best of luck if you enter the giveaway, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.